It's a brand new year for decluttering, and if you want to get started with decluttering but don't know how, then I highly recommend the Little Acts of Decluttering, which we're going to go through today for the whole of January. We are about to enter January and it's time for a whole new year of Little Acts of Decluttering, so let's get started with January. Hello, my name's Rachel. I do videos all about decluttering, minimalism and my nose friend year, and I have come up with little acts of decluttering that you can do every single day to help you chip away at the clutter in your home. The idea is that they're small, it's manageable and it's something that you can achieve and tick off your list so that you can get through the clutter without it being an onerous task, without it being a burden, without it being something that is a challenge or difficulty. You just work on that one little area and you do what you can in that day. So I have got 31 little acts of decluttering for you for January. I'm going to talk to you about how you can be successful within each area. If you want to follow along for the whole month, I do the little acts of decluttering on my social media every single day on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, so you can follow along there. So you can see them there as a daily reminder. And if you would like a free PDF calendar, I have one available on my website declutteryourlife.co.uk, and there's a lovely PDF that you can download for the month, and it means that you can then follow along and tick them off as you go through. Just a little sneaky reminder is that you can also order a diary for the year that has all the little acts of decluttering mapped out, and I also have a book, The Little Acts of Decluttering, that goes through all the different areas, and there's lots of motivation and tips and tricks in there and challenges too. Without further ado, let's get started. Do excuse me, I had to go and run and get my brand new book for the year. This is what I plan everything for my YouTube and social media. So let's go through January. Okay, for the first of the month, we are going to get rid of any old calendars from last year. We're going to transfer all the information that we need to onto the brand new calendar so that we are ready to go and we are organised for the year. Let's start on the right note, let's start on the right foot and make sure that we are ahead of the game and completely organised to get everything that you need to on your new calendar and then dispose of the old. For the 2nd of January, I want you to go through your contacts list, your friends list. Do you have anybody on there that you do not speak to? People that you've used for different services in the past, for like plumbing, etc. Are they ones that you would still use? Are they still in the area? If they are old ones that you don't use anymore and you don't know that they exist, clear off your contacts so that you have everybody that is important kept on there. For the 3rd of January, can you go through any old diaries? So maybe your old diary for last year, is it one that you keep each year? Is it one that you write in and put lots of detail in? Or is it just one that you just put appointments in? If you don't need to keep it, you can recycle. For the 4th of January, I want you to go through and declutter any old birthday or Christmas cards that you don't feel are important enough to keep. So if you've got ones that have sentimental messages in, then absolutely, if you want to keep those because they are precious to you, then keep them. But if they are ones that just say your name, happy birthday from so and so, do you need to keep them? For old Christmas cards, you could use the front and cut them out, and they could be used as tags for next year's presents. So that's an option if you want to, otherwise they can be recycled. For the 5th of January, I want you to have a little sort out and see if you can fill a donation box. Fill it with as many things as you can from around the house, but once the box is full, you need to take it straight to the charity shop so that you do not have it sat in your home. For the 6th of January, can you go through children's clothes? I recommend doing this a couple of times a year because they grow so quickly. My son at the minute is growing every 3 months. I have to buy new sets of clothes. That's how quick he is shooting up. It's really important that we go through clothes regularly because we want them to feel comfortable and have things that fit. For the 7th of January, can you set a 15-minute timer and see how much you can declutter in that time? This could be like a small little project area that you want to work on, or it could be a timer that you set for the whole family and everybody gets involved and sees how much they can get rid of in the room that they are decluttering. So maybe they could work in their own bedrooms, or you could work in the living room. Just declutter what you can in that time. Remember, you may want to use the 4-box method for this, so a box for donations, items to keep, items to sell and recycling or rubbish. For the 8th of January, do you have any old socks that need decluttering? Ones that have holes in maybe, that are really worn through, that are no good anymore? Take them out, you don't need to keep them. And do you have any odd socks? Odd socks, I don't know how people get odd socks because I marry up my socks every single time. I'm not an odd sock wearer, that is crazy. So go through, if you are somebody that has odd socks, decide what is a reasonable number of odd socks to keep, because I know some people like that, but if you don't, then just see if you can declutter them. For the 9th of January, can you go through pens and pencils? So we're looking at stationery here, make sure that they work, make sure that they're in good condition, and make sure that you don't have too many. If you have more than you think you will need, then see if you can donate or sell them. For the 10th of January, can you go through any gift bags you might have? These might be ones that you have received recently, so go through and see if you want to keep them for future use, or if not, you could recycle them. For the 11th of January, I want you to think about any unused gifts. So we've had a little bit of time since Christmas. Now might be a good time to reflect on any gifts that you've received that you haven't used or are unlikely to use. These are good items to either sell on or to donate for somebody else to use. There's no point holding on to a gift that is not going to serve a purpose for you. And take away that guilt, you don't need to feel guilty about it. The gift is now yours, the item is yours, so you don't have to keep hold of something just because somebody's given it to you. For the 12th of the month, can you go through any toiletry packs? So you may have got some of these for Christmas, but go through your cupboards, go through your bathroom cupboards and see if there are any sets that you don't like the scent of, that you are unlikely to use. Maybe there's some products within it that you don't use. See if you can donate them to somebody else or sell them on. There's no point in holding on to something that you are not going to use. For the 13th of the month, can you go through your utility bills? Do you have any old ones from several years back that you don't really need to keep anymore? I tend to keep the most recent year's worth, and that's it, just so that I've got the reference number or the account number for the bill. But other than that, most of them I have access to online, so I have digital copies. So do you have any paper copies that you don't need anymore? If you are recycling them, don't forget to take off any confidential information because that needs to be shredded. For the 14th of the month, could you clear your dressing table of clutter? This is a great opportunity to clear away any makeup or any products that are on there, put them in the right place, put them back in their home so that you have a nice clean space ready to use. For the 15th of January, can you go through party supplies? Do you have any that you have not used within the last year? Do you need to keep them? Are you likely to use them again? If not, then these are good items to sell or donate. If you are finding that you are struggling to get rid of stuff by selling them, then I would just get in the habit of donating so that you can get more things out of your home quicker, so that you can feel the benefits of that clutter-free space. For the 16th of January, can you go through the apps on your phone? Are there any that you haven't used within the last month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months that you are unlikely to use? Quite often some of the phones actually give you a rundown if you haven't used the apps within the last few months, and they try and encourage you to get rid. So I find that quite helpful, it gives me a chance to reflect. But if you don't have that, go through your apps and see if there are any that you are unlikely to use. Remember, if you're trying to avoid the sales, getting rid of any store ones, any retail ones is a good way to avoid temptation. For the 17th of the month, do you have any food containers that you don't use? Have you got lots that don't marry up to the right lid? So go through, make sure that every container has the right lid and right box that go together. Any that are excess you could get rid of. If you have too many, see if you could donate them to somebody else that might make better use of them. For the 18th of the month, can you make sure that your bedside table is clear of clutter? This is an everyday use area, so keeping that surface clean is a really good end of the day and start of your day. So getting that clear of clutter just makes it a little bit smoother for your transitions. For the 19th of the month, do you have any old receipts that you do not need to keep? I know that I keep mine for my no spend year, so I always keep them to put within my budget book, but once I've finished doing that and put them in there, I then do get rid of them. You might have some old receipts from products you bought from a few years back. If the warranty has passed, do you need to keep the receipt? So go through and be realistic about what you do need to keep. If you do need to keep them, can you sort them by month and year so that they are in an organised manner for tax returns? For the 20th of January, can you find 20 items to declutter from your home? They could be anywhere you like, it could be a high traffic area that you deal with, it could be that you look at your wardrobe and find 20 items. Go through and see if you can get that number. For the 21st of January, can you go through children's books? Do you have ones that are too young for your children now that are not likely to be used? You could donate these to your local library or to your local school. For the 22nd of January, do you have a full drawer that is struggling to close? that you could go through and see if you can reduce it down enough so that it's comfortable to close. This is a great strategy if you're not willing to do a full declutter. It's just about making that space usable again. For the 23rd of January, do you have any USB drives or USB sticks that you're not using? Are they old ones that maybe only have like so many megabytes on because it was one of the first ones that came out? For the 24th of the month, do you have any old invitations from old events that have already passed, that you've already been to? Go through your calendar, they're probably stored there or in your diary, and just declutter them. You don't need to keep them. It's not going to change your memory of the event. So go through and see if you can get rid of any. For the 25th of January, do you have any old journals that you don't need to keep? I know that I had some from my teenage years and they were quite depressing. They weren't really worthy of keeping. Think about what it is that you find important, what you want to keep, and if you don't want to keep them, then it's okay to let go. For the 26th of the month, do you have any old business cards? You might have them stored on maybe your fridge or freezer. Do you need to keep them? Are you likely to use a service? If not, it's okay to recycle them. For the 27th of the month, do you have any plates and bowls that you don't use? Do you have too many? Do you have any that are chipped? If you do, then do you need to keep them? This is a great opportunity to reduce down so that you've only got the number that you are going to use and need on a regular basis. For the 28th of the month, can you clear a surface? This could be any surface. It could be a coffee table, the kitchen side, it could be the dining table or a side console. Clear the space of clutter and try and find everything at home, or see if there's anything that you can let go of. For the 29th of the month, can you go through your formal dress wear? Do you have any items that you are unlikely to wear again that you could then let go of? So make a decision about whether or not you really want to keep them or not. For the 30th of the month, do you have any books that you are unlikely to read or have already read? These are great items that you could donate to your local library or your local school, depending on what they are, but go through them and just be realistic about what you're likely to read. And for the last day of the month, do you have any colouring or activity books that have been part used? You do not need to keep them just because there's the odd page on there. If they're not likely to be used, then it's okay to recycle them. So there are 31 days of little acts of decluttering that you can do over the month. Don't forget you can check out the PDF on my website. And the idea is that it's small and manageable, so hopefully this will help get you motivated, get you started with decluttering, and then you'll feel more confident to get going with some bigger tasks. I shall be back for more videos soon. Take care, bye!